Rules on Civil Procedure, Rule 39, Execution, Satisfaction, and Effect of Judgment, Section 29. Effect of redemption by judgment obligor, and a certificate to be delivered and recorded thereupon, to whom payments on redemption made. If the judgment obligor redeems, he must make the same payments as are required to effect a redemption by redemptioner, whereupon no further redemption shall be allowed, and he is restored to his estate. The person to whom the redemption payment is made must be execute and deliver to him a certificate of redemption acknowledged before a notary public or other officer authorized to take acknowledgement of conveyances of real property. Such certificate must be filed and recorded in the registry of deeds of the place in which the property is situated, and the registrar of deeds must note the record thereof on the margin of the record of the certificate of sale. May the payments mentioned in this and the last preceding sections may be made to the purchaser or redemptioner, or for him to the officer who made the sale. Section 30. Proof required of redemptioner. A redemptioner must produce to the officer or person from whom he seeks to redeem, and serve with his notice to the officer a copy of the judgment or final order under which he claims the right to redeem, certified by the clerk of the court wherein the judgment or final order is entered, or if he redeems upon a mortgage or other lien, a memorandum of the record thereof, certified by the registrar of deeds, or an original or certified copy of any assignment necessary to establish his claim, and an affidavit executed by him or her or his agent showing the amount then actually due on the lien. Section 31. Manner of using premises pending redemption, ways restraint. Until the expiration of the time allowed for redemption, the court may, as in other proper cases, restrain the commission of ways on the property by injunction, on the application of the purchaser or the judgment obligee, with or without notice, but it is not waste for a person in possession of the property at the time of the sale, or entitled to possession afterwards, during the period allowed for redemption, to continue to use it in the same manner in which it was previously used, or to use it in the ordinary course of husbandry, or to make the necessary repairs to buildings thereon while he occupies the property. Section 32. Rents, earnings, and income of property pending redemption. The purchaser or a redemptioner shall not be entitled to receive the rents, earnings, and incomes of the property sold on execution, or the value of the use and occupation thereof when such property is in possession of a tenant. All rents, earnings, and income derived from the property pending redemption shall belong to the judgment obligor until the expiration of his period of redemption. Section 33. Deed and possession to be given at the expiration of the redemption period, by whom executed or given, if no redemption be made within 1 year from the date of the registration of the certificate of sale. The purchaser is entitled to a conveyance and the possession of the property, or, if so redeemed, whenever 60 days have elapsed, and no other redemption has been made, and notice thereof given, and the time for redemption has expired, the last redemptioner is entitled to the conveyance and possession. But in all the cases, the judgment obligor shall have the entire period of 1 year from the date of the registration of the sale to redeem the property. The deed shall be executed by the officer making the sale, or by his successor in office, and in the latter case shall have the same validity as though the officer making the sale had continued in office and executed it. Upon the expiration of the right of redemption, the purchaser or redemptioner shall be substituted to and acquire all the rights, title, interest, and claim of the judgment obligor to the property as of the time of the levy. The possession of the property shall be given to the purchaser or less redemptioner by the same officer unless a third party is actually holding the property adversely to the judgment obligor. Section 34. Recovery of price if sale not effective. Revival of judgment. If the purchaser of real property sold on execution or his successor in interest fails to recover the possession thereof or is evicted therefrom in consequence of irregularities in the proceeding concerning the sale, or because the judgment has been reversed or set aside, or because the property sold was exempt from execution, or because a third person has vindicated his claim to the property, he may, on motion in the same action or in the separate action, recover the judgment obligee the price paid, with interest, or so much thereof as has not been delivered to the judgment obligor, or he may, on motion, have the original judgment revived in his name for the whole price with interest, or so much thereof as has been delivered to the judgment obligor. The judgment so revived shall have the same force and effect as an original judgment would have as of the date of the revival and no more. Section 35. Right to contribution or reimbursement. When property liable to an execution against several persons is sold thereon, and more than a due proportion of the judgment is satisfied out of the proceeds of the sale of the property of one of them, or one of them pays, without a sale, more than his proportion, he may compel a contribution from others. And when the judgment is upon an obligation of one of them as security for another, and the surety pays the amount or any part thereof, either by sale of his property or before sale, he may compel repayment from the principal. Section 36. Examination of judgment obligor when judgment unsatisfied. When the return of the writ of execution issued against the property of judgment obligor or any one of several obligors in the same judgment shows that the judgment remains unsatisfied, in whole or in part, the judgment obligee at any time after such return is made shall be entitled to an order from the court which rendered the said judgment, requiring such judgment obligor to appear and be examined concerning his property and income before such court or before commissioner appointed by it at a specified time and place, and proceedings made thereon be held for the application of the property and income of the judgment obligor towards the satisfaction of the judgment. But no judgment obligor shall be so required to appear before a court or commissioner outside of the province or city in which such obligor resides or is found. Section 37. Examination of obligor or judgment obligor. When the return of the writ of execution against the property of judgment obligor shows that the judgment remains unsatisfied, in whole or in part, and upon proof to the satisfaction of the court which issued the writ, that a person, corporation, or other juridical entity has property of such judgment obligor or is indebted to him, the court may, by an order, require such person, corporation, or other juridical entity, or any officer or member thereof, to appear before the court or a commissioner appointed by it at any time and place within the province or city where such debtor resides or is found, and be examined concerning the same. The service of the order shall bind all credits due the judgment obligor, and all money and property of the judgment obligor in the possession or in the control of such person, corporation, or juridical entity from the time of service, and the court may also require notice of such proceedings to be given to any party to the action in such manner as it may deem proper. Section 38. Enforcement of attendance and conduct of examination. A party or other person may be compelled by an order or subpoena to attend before the court or commissioner to testify as provided in the two preceding sections, and upon failure to obey such order or subpoena or to be sworn or to answer as witness or to subscribe his deposition may be punished for contempt as in other cases. Examinations shall not be unduly prolonged, but the proceedings may be adjourned from time to time until they are completed. If the examination is before a commissioner, he must take it in writing and certified it to the court. All examinations and answers before the court or commissioner must be under oath, and when the corporation or other juridical entity answers, it must be on the oath of an authorized officer or agent thereof. Section 39. Obligor may pay execution against obligee. After a writ of execution against property has been issued, a person indebted to the judgment obligor may pay to the sheriff holding the writ of execution the amount of his debt, and so much thereof as may be necessary to satisfy the judgment, in the manner prescribed in Section 9 of this rule, and the sheriff's receipt shall be a sufficient discharge of the amount so paid or directed to be credited by the judgment obligee on the execution. Section 40. Order for application of property and income to satisfy of judgment. The court may order any property of the judgment obligor or money due to him, not exempt from execution, in the hands of either himself or other person, or of a corporation or other juridical entity, to be applied to the satisfaction of the judgment, subject to any prior rights over such property. If, upon investigation of his current income and expenses, it appears that the earnings of the judgment obligor for his personal services are more than necessary for the support of his family, the court may order that he pay the judgment in fixed monthly installment, and upon his failure to pay such installment, when due without good excuse, may punish him for indirect contempt. Section 41. Appointment of receiver. The court may appoint a receiver of the property of the judgment obligor, and it may also forbid a transfer or other disposition of, or any interference with, the property of the judgment obligor not exempt from execution. Section 42. Sale of ascertainable interest of judgment obligor in real estate. If it appears that the judgment obligor has an interest in real estate in the place in which proceedings are had, as mortgagor or mortgagee or otherwise, and his interest therein can be ascertained without controversy, the receiver may be ordered to sell or convey such real estate or the interest of the obligor therein, and such sale shall be conducted in all respects in the same manner as is provided for the sale of real estate upon execution, and the proceedings thereon shall be approved by the court before the execution of the deed. Section 43. Section 43. Proceedings when indebtedness denied or another person's claim the property. If it appears that a person or corporation alleged to have property of the judgment obligor or to be indebted to him claims an interest in the property adverse to him or denies the debt, the court may authorize by an order made to that effect the judgment obligee to institute an action against such person or corporation for the recovery of such interest or debt, forbid a transfer or other disposition of such interest or debt within 120 days from notice of the order, and may punish disobedience of such order as for contempt. Such order may be modified or vacated at any time by the court which issued it or by the court in which the action is brought upon such term as may be just. Section 41. Entry of satisfaction of judgment by clerk of court. Satisfaction of judgment shall be entered by the clerk of court in the court docket and in the execution book. Upon the return of the writ of execution showing the full satisfaction of the judgment, or upon the filing of an admission to the satisfaction of the judgment executed and acknowledged in the same manner as a conveyance of real property by the judgment obligee or by his counsel, unless the revocation of his authority is filed, or upon the endorsement of such admission by the judgment obligee or his counsel on the face of the record of the judgment. Section 45. Entry of satisfaction with or without admission. Whether a judgment is satisfied in fact or otherwise than upon an execution, on demand of the judgment obligor, the judgment obligee or his counsel must execute and acknowledge or endorse an admission of the satisfaction as provided in the last preceding section, and after notice and upon motion, the court may order either the judgment obligee or his counsel to do so, or may order the entry of satisfaction to be made without such admission. Section 46. When principal bound by judgment against surety. When a judgment is rendered against a party who stands as surety for another, the latter is also bound from the time that he has notice of the action or proceeding and an opportunity of the surety's request to join in defense. Section 47. Effect of judgment or final orders. The effect of a judgment or final order rendered by a court of the Philippines having jurisdiction to pronounce the judgment or final order may be as follows. A. In case of a judgment or final order against a specific thing or respect to the probate of a will or the administration of the estate of a deceased person, or in respect to the personal, political, or legal condition or status of particular person or his relationship to another, the judgment or final order is conclusive upon the title to the thing, the will or administration, or the condition, status, or relationship of the person. However, the probate of a will or granting of letters of administration shall only be prima facie evidence of the death of the testator or intestate. B. In other cases, the judgment or final order is with respect to the matter directly adjudged or as to the other matter that could have been raised in relation thereto, conclusive between the parties and their successors in interest by title subsequent to the commencement of the action, or special proceeding, litigating for the same thing and under the same title and in the same capacity. And C. In any other litigation between the same parties or their successors in interest that only is deemed to have been adjudged in a former judgment or final order which appears upon its face to have been adjudged, or which was actually and necessarily included therein or necessary thereto. Section 48. Effect of foreign judgment or final orders. The effect of a judgment or final order of a tribunal of a foreign country having jurisdiction to render the judgment or final order is as follows.
Okay, go. 3, 2, 1. B-O-I.
Wait lang. Effect of foreign judgment or final orders. A. In case of judgment or final order upon a specific thing, the judgment or final order is conclusive upon the title to the thing. And B. In case of a judgment or final order against a person, the judgment or final order is presumptive evidence of a right as between the parties and their successors in interest by a subsequent title. In either case, the judgment or final order may be repelled by evidence of want of jurisdiction, want of notice to the party, collusion, fraud, or clear mistake of law or fact.